You are listening to the Live Well with Arthritis podcast, helping you to live a healthier and happier life with your arthritis. Every episode contains science-backed support, expert advice, and a deep understanding of the reality of living with arthritis. I'm your host, Emily Johnson, also known as Arthritis Foodie. I'm a best-selling author and the founder of Live Well with Arthritis. Whether you've been living with arthritis for years, or you're navigating a new diagnosis, or perhaps you have symptoms and are looking for answers, this podcast is for you. For more support, you can join the waitlist for my course, Live Well with Arthritis, on www.livewellwitharthritis.com/waitlist. That's www.livewellwitharthritis.com/waitlist. Places are limited, so the earlier you sign up, the better. Now, let's get into the episode. Hello, and welcome back to another solo episode of the Live Well with Arthritis podcast. A few weeks ago, I was with my friend Anna for brunch. She'll be coming on the podcast soon. And we got onto the topic of how frustrating it is to be pitied when you have arthritis. Of course, people mean well, but we do not need your pity. We live with chronic pain and a lifelong condition. Don't people realise how strong we are? So in this episode, I'd like to talk about why arthritis needs a rebrand. Let me start by saying I know arthritis is not typically classed as sexy, and when people hear arthritis, they don't think of, a young woman building her global business, Live Well with Arthritis, or someone traveling the world like my friend Ali, Another Day with RA, or a yoga instructor building his brand like Jamie, Yoga for AS. Of course, there is a reality that includes unsexy items like compression socks, walking sticks, and blue badges. But it is deeply harmful when people make assumptions about what it is like to live with these conditions like arthritis from day to day, and to assume that we're incapable or less than, because I'd argue that we are extremely capable with everything that we have to juggle and manage. For 12 years, I have lived with arthritis, and from those early days in my 20s when I was terrified and confused, I have felt the weight of that unsexy branding and that feeling of not being enough or being less than or being incapable. And there was a time when I used to hide my medications and my pill organizer, been embarrassed to wear my nude compression socks and ankle supports, or felt the need to over-explain my diet and lifestyle choices, such as not drinking. And in the past, I have masked my pain and how I'm feeling because I didn't want to be labelled as the sick person. But today, we're changing the narrative because we're giving arthritis a branding makeover, or I'm going to try in this episode. Because the truth is, living with chronic pain does not make you less than. In my opinion, it makes you a literal powerhouse, and my friend Anna would agree. So today we're moving from pity to power. And that's why I coach, run this podcast, and do the work that I do to empower you to be the best version of yourself, regardless of your condition, learning to live well with arthritis every single day. So, why are we so afraid to talk about the unsexy parts? Well, society has taught us that being less than perfect isn't good enough. In fact, I'd argue that we're all walking around thinking that we aren't good enough. We've been conditioned to think that if you don't have the perfect body, you are somehow broken or there's something wrong with you. And I remember back in the early days of Arthritis Foodie, I was even too embarrassed to put my face to my social media platform. In fact, for the first 8 or 9 months of my account, I didn't show my face. And this is because I had barely shared my condition with my closest friends and family, let alone strangers on the internet. And Arthritis Foodie was originally a food and lifestyle diary to track my condition as I made monumental and life-changing decisions to alter my health for the better. But over time, it grew in that 8 to 9 months of me doing it anonymously to over 10,000 followers. And I knew I had to make a commitment to sharing the reality of living with arthritis, and not just what I was eating, and also put my face to my Instagram page and put my face to what it's like to look like when you have arthritis because I may not be the typical person that people think of when they think of arthritis. They probably wouldn't think of someone that looks like me, but I hope that it's changing and I hope that people realize how much arthritis and autoimmune conditions can impact young people as well. And, in my day-to-day life at the time, I had felt the pressure to not show that reality of what I was going through, partly from embarrassment and shame and the stigma of being attached with the word arthritis, but also to make other people feel more comfortable, and to not, make them feel awkward or feel that I'm being, needy or difficult or what have you. So I thought it was better to stay silent on all counts. And we can come on to dating later in the episode, but needless to say, there were times when I didn't feel sexy and I wondered if I ever could again. But silence is where the inflammation grows, literally and figuratively. And if you've listened to episode 15 on social inflammation, you will know that there is a biological cost to hiding who we truly are. And it might be for the fear of what people think, or for wanting to stay normal and not different and not like there's anything wrong with you, or for, the fear of not wanting to open up yourself to the judgment of others. But you know what? People will judge you no matter what. People will judge you no matter what you do, no matter who you are. So you just have to do what is right for you and what feels good for you in your life, in your body. So here are 5 examples of when I have hidden how I'm feeling in the past. So pre-Arthritis Foodie public launch into the world. So number 1 is for fear of being a flaky friend. So how many times have you cancelled plans and made up a fake excuse like a headache, or, I don't know, you've got a cold, or you're busy at work or something, because saying, oh, my ankles are on fire or my knee is on fire felt too difficult. I used to say all kinds of reasons why I couldn't make it because I didn't want to confess how my arthritis was feeling at the time. I'd say I was down with a bug or had work commitments, or something else. Now, I simply say, my arthritis is flaring up. Right now, I need to rest and time to recharge at home. Can we reorganize for another time? And actually, just this week, one of my friends, I'd organized to, to go to the gym. I'd organized to go to the gym with him, and I just was not able to face it that day. I'd had quite a stressful day at work, and I just needed a minute. And I just said to him, look, my arthritis is flaring up. I'm not feeling great. It's purely stress related. I just need to do all the right things to get back to my baseline, which in 24 hours, I was absolutely fine. But I did just have to communicate that with him. And years ago, before Arthritis Foodie, I never would have done that. I would have made some excuse. I would have, just not wanted to really open up. But I literally put in my text, my arthritis isn't great tonight, need to rest. Like, that was it. I just need to rest and I'll be back to the baseline hopefully tomorrow. And I was after that rest. I did have a really long hot Epsom salt bath early night, and did my CBD creams and oils and things, and yeah, I was absolutely fine by the next day. So yeah, anyway, number 2. So number 2 is hiding my medications for fear of what people will say about me taking them. Oh, aren't they really strong? Or, will you be on these for life? What side effects are there? Is there nothing else you can do? What about trying celery juice? So yeah, this is another thing that, I would have hidden how I'm feeling in the past, pre-Arthritis Foodie public launch into the world. And now I just simply say, you know what? These medications support my system, and I found a diet and lifestyle that does help. And celery juice, it's not a thing. Celery juice alone won't do anything, and it's not a thing. There's nothing scientifically proven to show that celery juice will cure my arthritis. So thank you, but no thank you. So yeah, that's another example. And then number 3 is not wanting to be pitied or be looked at or treated differently. You know, that look that people give you when they find out you have arthritis, it's well intentioned, but it can make you feel so small. So there's more on this later in the episode. So now I simply say, you know, not say, I simply accept actually that their reaction is not mine to carry. And you can't control your circumstances, but you can control your response to them. So I may not say anything at all, or I may make light of it, but I genuinely just don't take it on. I just think, well, that's how they're feeling about me and my condition. I can't control that. And so, yeah. And then number 4, so, you know, speaking of reactions and responses, when meeting new people, I used to be fearful of their response to learning that I have arthritis. And one example of this is on a date back in, oh gosh, it must be like 2017, 2018, before I started my Instagram page Arthritis Foodie. I went on I think it was a Hinge date, probably, or a Bumble date. I don't know. Anyway, I remember telling him that I was on antibiotics, which is why I couldn't drink, when actually, in fact, it was because of my methotrexate, and I was choosing not to drink alcohol that night because I'd already hit my quota for that week. My arthritis wasn't feeling that great, so I just look like I'm on antibiotics and I don't want to drink. I won't bore you with the details, but his reaction was less than pleasant. And he saw it as a personal attack on him that I wasn't drinking alcohol, even though I explicitly said it was because of antibiotics. So, you know, even if it wasn't, it was actually because of my methotrexate, but he didn't know that. But he was being funny with me with it just being antibiotics. Needless to say, I did not go on a second date with this man. He was not very nice. So we won't carry on with that story. So yeah, but anyway, their reaction says a lot about them. So straight away I was like, well, you're obviously not the person I would want to go on another date with or be with, because this is how you're reacting to my boundaries, then we got a problem, honey. So yeah, anyway, so now I simply say, I am teetotal. Oh, you know, I have arthritis, so I'm just conscious of what I eat and what I drink. And I'm not afraid to say that now. And I think it's best to just like get it out of the way early on, I think, when you're dating, if you're listening to this and you are dating, because I'd rather know at the beginning if they have a problem than hold it back, not say anything, than say something months in and they're like, oh, and they're funny about it. Because then you've just wasted your time, you've wasted their time, and it's better just to get things out in the open. I'm a real advocate for that now, having experienced, yeah, all kinds of dating mishaps. So yeah. And then number 5 is that I used to hide my condition and its impact on me at work in the office. So I would push through, pretend everything was fine, and then I'd really struggle with cold and flu-like symptoms and basically just end up in bed sleeping to recover at the weekend. So, you know, there was no work from home option back then, and it was really hard, and I was frequently unwell, and it did me no good. So now I simply say, look, I need to work from home. It's because of my condition. I'm unable to be in an office 5 days a week. So, you know, that means I can be accommodated for. And to be fair, every employer that I've expressed my needs to, and I've explained, you know, I have arthritis, it is a disability, this is what I need, they have been amazing, and they have listened, and they have put things in place to accommodate for that. One example is, before work from home was a thing, my employer ensured I had a laptop at home and a laptop in the office, so that I could have my work from home days and I'd have access to everything. And also ensured that I had like the right equipment at home, etc., which is the bare minimum really. And another job just said, look, yeah, just tell us if you need to work from home, just go work from home. And also they had like sofas in their office spaces, which was really nice. So you know, because I do enjoy the company of being around other people, so I literally remember having my laptop on my knees, on my legs, and my feet up with some heat packs on in the office. You know, that was fine. And they were super understanding and lovely about that. And yeah. So yeah, I do think speaking to your employer is really important, so they can support you in whichever way that they can. And yeah, because there is there is a cost to staying silent. And yes, you should ensure that you feel safe and trust the people you are opening up to, but I do understand this may not always be the case. But when we stay quiet, we just let everyone think that arthritis is just creaky joints and that's it. And it's not. We know that it impacts our whole body. And, by hiding the reality, we're actually doing ourselves a disservice to our needs and who we are. By being open, it means you can be authentic in who you are and the right people can meet you there. If you aren't authentic and later down the line find there is a problem with someone you're dating or a friend or employer, in a way, that is on you because you were not honest with them to begin with. So I'd love your thoughts on this one if you want to reach out to me about this episode. So next topic is I want to delve a little bit deeper into pity. Pity is a passive emotion. It's when someone looks down on you and thinks that you're less than. And I just want to be clear, I do not want your pity and I do not need you to feel sorry for me. Pity is for things that are defeated. We are not defeated. If you're listening to me now and you're feeling defeated, you are not defeated. You are an absolute warrior. You are a warrior in everyday life. The things that you are carrying when you live with arthritis, even like the admin of sorting your hospital appointments, your medications, all of that, but then the emotional turmoil of receiving a diagnosis, navigating your life around that. I mean, all of this I work with my clients on in my coaching, but there's just so much to kind of contend with when you get given the diagnosis arthritis. So I think we are absolute powerhouses, as I've said before. And just as Anna and I were discussing a few weeks ago, we are like, what the heck? Like, we don't want people to feel sorry for us. We want people to be like, wow, they're doing all of this or they're living life and they have arthritis and they're existing. Like, just existing is hard enough. Like, we are absolute warriors. So yeah, I want you to shift your mindset now, and we can call this the athlete mentality. Just think about what it takes to get out of bed sometimes when your joints feel like they're full of a combination of cement and crushed glass. Think about what it takes to then get up, make your breakfast, go up, do your 9 to 5, parent, if you have children, to create and navigate the world and spend time with friends and family and all the rest of it and smile while your body feels like it's literally in a battle with itself. It's not sad. It is brave. It is strong and it is impressive. And when I think back to when I first got diagnosed, I felt completely powerless. I felt isolated and alone. And I felt like a victim. I was like, why me? Why has this happened to me? I'm so frustrated. I'm so upset. But this victim mindset got me absolutely nowhere. Something had to change. And I had the courage to make a change in my mindset and how I viewed my condition. I could stay a victim to it, or I could do what I could to empower myself and my body to be as healthy as possible, regardless of my condition. And this isn't something that can happen overnight. I completely appreciate if you are listening to this and you've just been diagnosed. It is overwhelming and you do feel like a victim, and that's okay for a little while. Indulge in that feeling. It's rubbish when you get that diagnosis and you just don't know what your life is going to turn out like. But my advice would be don't wallow in it forever, because it can really put you into a state of despondency and feeling like there's nothing you can do, when really I want to put you into a mindset where you are shifting and thinking and navigating, okay, what can I do about this? And, putting your brain into that state of positivity and going, how can I make changes to my life? What can I do to help myself? That puts you in a completely different mindset than there's nothing I can do. And it just creates blocks. There's nothing I can do. This is it now. That's it. Whereas if you can put your mindset into, okay, this is what I've got. What can I do about it? It can have a hugely profound difference in your everyday life, how you're feeling, all of it. And, in my coaching, I've seen this shift happen all the time. People come to me feeling like they are victims of their bodies and leave realizing that they are the masters of them and they can take that control back. And, let's face it, with a condition like arthritis, we are basically running a marathon every single day while everyone else is just walking. It's time we started acting like the elite athletes we are. You aren't suffering from arthritis. You have the power to live well with arthritis every single day, you know? So, yeah. Anyway, back to the rebranding of arthritis. So how do we make arthritis cool or sexy? And I'd say it's by reclaiming this agency, reclaiming our power. Sexy and cool is just energy. It's the energy of someone who knows exactly who they are and doesn't apologize for any single bit of it. So here's 3 ways we can rebrand arthritis. So, number 1, self-advocacy is sexy. Walking into your doctor or consultant's office with your up-to-date notes, your blood test results, and demanding better care for your arthritis, that is power. Number 2, boundaries are sexy. Being able to say, no, I can't do Friday, I need to rest, is a sign of someone who respects their body and knows how to take care of themselves. Number 3, eating healthy and taking care of yourself is sexy. I used to be ashamed of the accommodations I needed for my arthritis or the gadgets and tools that I use, but now I see them as my Formula One team. They help my body to win every day and be the best version it can be. And in my opinion, there is no need to be polite and hide our arthritis to anyone because we should be living our truth. So just to recap, 3 ways I'd like to rebrand. Number 1, self-advocacy is sexy. Number 2, boundaries are sexy. And number 3, eating healthy and taking care of yourself is sexy. So yeah, I think we really should be living our truth. The version where we show up, flares, medication, CBD patches, compression socks, supplements and all, and say, yeah, I'm in pain. But look at me now. Look at me anyway. Look at what I'm doing anyway. Look at this business I've built. Look at the family I've created. Look at the community around me. That is sexy and that is cool. And if you don't think it is, hit me up in the DMs. Let's talk about it because I truly, truly believe that we are so powerful. We are so powerful living with the condition that we do. So, so powerful. Anyway, so my challenge for you this week is this. The next time you feel the urge to apologize for your arthritis, or the next time you feel unsexy because, you're wearing flats today instead of heels, or you're using a tool that's helping you in the kitchen, or you've had to set a boundary because you need to rest tonight instead of going out, just take a breath. Look in the mirror and remind yourself, I am doing something most people couldn't even handle for a single afternoon. For an hour, for a minute, they couldn't handle it. I am handling it. I love you. I am a warrior. And it's time I started looking at myself with admiration, not pity. I am not a victim, and I'm doing so well. Okay? So I hope this episode has been interesting for you or relatable for you. And I know it's not my typical science-led episode, but it was just something that I really wanted to talk about because after my discussion with Anna, I just thought, do you know what? Yeah, people don't realize how much we are handling. And do you know what? If a relative of yours or a friend of yours or, there's someone close to you who is grappling with your diagnosis and is unsure how to support you and is thinking that you're a victim and is thinking, oh no, poor them, send them this episode. Send this episode to them and say, look, I'm a powerhouse. I'm doing so well. I'm doing so well. All I need you to do is support me in what I'm doing. I do not need you to feel sorry for me, So hope this helped. And before I go, I do have a quick update on my 12-week course and program, Live Well with Arthritis. So applications are closing really soon. I'm actually going to do a cutoff on the 22nd of April, and there are a few places left. So if you are ready to move from pity to power and you want to build that remission roadmap, you want to feel better and you want to live well with arthritis with me, and yeah, I'm so, honestly, I said in last week's episode, but I'm going to say it again. I'm so excited to start the spring cohort. So if you want to spend these 12 weeks with me, we have a UK rheumatologist, over 12 weeks of incredible content with over 10 different health experts, nutritionists, physiotherapists, literally, yeah, breathworks expert, like literally so many wonderful people have helped me with this course. We've got weekly group coaching and one-to-one coaching with me. You can sign up to the waitlist and apply, and I'll be in touch and have a discovery call to make sure it's the right fit for you, because I am very conscious of who I work with and if it's actually going to help you, if you're actually able to put the time in to do the course, for example. That's really important to me. So there's got to be alignment there as well. So please, when you're applying, apply with your honesty, authenticity and truth. And I will do the same on our call together and make sure it's the right thing for you. So yeah, stay in touch. Have a wonderful day wherever you're listening to this episode, and thanks again. P.S. Remember, arthritis is sexy. Bye.
You've been listening to the Live Well with Arthritis podcast. If you're enjoying it, please follow and leave a review. I'd really love to hear from you. To sign up to the waitlist for the Live Well with Arthritis course, head to livewellwitharthritis.com/waitlist. For any questions or to suggest topics, email us over on hello@livewellwitharthritis.com. You can follow me over on @Arthritis Foodie, that's ARTHRITISFOODIE. And you can also follow Live Well with Arthritis on @LiveWellWithArthritis to stay tuned for the latest updates, news, podcast episodes, recipes, and a whole lot more. I'll see you there. Until next time, live well and lots of love from me to you. P.S. Before you go, I have to let you know that this podcast is presented solely for educational and entertainment purposes only. It is not intended as a substitute for the advice of your medical professional, whether that be your rheumatologist, GP, specialist, or other qualified professional. Thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next episode.